Hello, Bulldogs and book reader fans. This is your good friend and host, Steve Robertson here. Exciting times for us as book number 2, Stark Villains, is now in production and will be available very, very soon. You can pre-order that book right now at starkvillainsthebook.com. I will be signing all pre-ordered copies, and it's important to me that we get a big start with this because, as you guys know, this guy right here, Flim Flam, the little book that could, debuted at #1 on the Mississippi bestsellers list and then stayed there for 5 weeks. I want to thank each and every one of you that bought Flim Flam, that shared Flim Flam, and all you Mississippi State fans, you smart Aleck Dog fans that went and bought those books for your Ole Miss brother-in-law. The lost always seek the truth, and I'm so glad that you guys were a part of that and so eager to kind of share that with other people. This book, Stark Villains, is much different. While there is the element of the rivalry, the Mississippi State-Ole Miss acrimony, this book is a celebration of Mississippi State and Mississippi State wins in the rivalry against Ole Miss. This is not an anti-Ole Miss book, even though there are some people out there that are critics of mine that'll tell you otherwise. That's not the case. And one of the things that I did when I got ready to write this book is I thought about the Mississippi State-Ole Miss games that mean a lot to me. And so I reached out to many of the players and coaches that were involved in those games, and one that comes to mind immediately is the 2007 Egg Bowl when Derek McGee's makes that incredible punt return that really changed the game, tied the ball game, gave Mississippi State a chance to win. So I called Derek McGee's and I interviewed him about not only that ball game, but why he came to Mississippi State, his college recruitment, why he didn't go to Ole Miss, because everybody in those days from South Panola went to Ole Miss, and he spoke at length about that. But also, too, there were some other games. I mean, John Bond was a hero of mine growing up. The first football game I ever went to in my life, November 1st, 1980, Mississippi State beats Alabama, and John Bond became my hero, my childhood hero on that day. Well, John played in 4 Egg Bowls, and the only ones that anybody ever talks about are the 2 that he lost. The Dick Pace game and the blown back game, and you know what I'm talking about when I mention those. But John won 2 Egg Bowls, too, and so I gave John a chance to talk about all 4 of those Egg Bowls and what the rivalry means to him. And that's really a big part of this book. It is the rivalry between Mississippi State and Ole Miss told from the Mississippi State vantage point by the players and coaches and people that lived all of it. And in addition to some great sports stories, because I've got some baseball stories going back all the way to 1970 with Brantley Jones and the legend of the double bird in Oxford. Then I've got Brooks Dunn, who was kind of a seldom used SEC pitcher, goes and wins the 2005 SEC Baseball Tournament Championship game in the game of his life. Tremendous story there. Interviewed he and Ron Polk and Brett Cleveland for that chapter. It's great stuff. Luke Alexander is another guy, too, that in many respects might end up being a footnote in Mississippi State baseball history. And I wanted to document the fact that he walked off Ole Miss twice and then walked off Washington and Omaha in the College World Series. And I think that is something that is worthy of that accomplishment is worthy of our notation. And so some of my favorite stories in the book, too, don't even involve sports. They involve students. And I've got 3 great student stories, one from 1958 that involves the Mississippi State side of the Bully kidnapping, when Ole Miss came and kidnapped Bully and painted him red and blue. We've heard their version of events. Now you can hear Mississippi State's version of events from the man that was responsible for keeping up with Bully and went to negotiate his release and all the things that went along with that. And then also there's in the 1940s, there is a story about a couple of former Mississippi State students from Leland, Mississippi that did some redecorating at the Ole Miss football stadium right before the 1946 Egg Bowl. A game that Mississippi State won behind Shorty McWilliams and Eagle Mottlich. And so those are some of my favorite stories. You're going to have some great stories, and here's another request I'm going to have for you. We hope this book is extremely successful. If it's anywhere close to Flim Flam, I'm going to be overjoyed. But when you read this book, your memories are going to be jogged and say, you know what, Steve? I know a great story. And that's one of the things that I want to do with this book is I would love to have a sequel to this one, telling our story, telling the Mississippi State story, our version of events as it relates to Mississippi State-Ole Miss rivalry. So as you read and enjoy these great stories, and I'm so incredibly grateful to Coach Bob Tyler and Rocky Felker and John Bond and Anthony Dixon and Derek Pegues and Morgan William and so many others, Greg Carter, that shared their time with me and their experiences about Mississippi State and their undying love for all things Bulldog. Those are all captured in this book, and that is the one thread all the way through that I think that you'll find is that people just still love Mississippi State and have a tremendous amount of admiration for the Mississippi State fan base. But as you read those great stories, you're going to think, you know what, Steve, you should have gotten this one. And you know what? You're probably right. So email me at srobertson@genespage.com, reach out to me on social media, and we'll go ahead and start lining up some things for Villains 2. But until that time, please go ahead and enjoy Stark Villains, and go ahead today on this website. Pre-order your copy and multiple copies at starkvillainsthebook.com. You're going to be so glad that you did. There's so many great stories, and this is a book, unlike Flim Flam that was kind of tied to the headlines. This book's a little more evergreen, and I think it's going to be something you'll want to keep, and every Bulldog fan on your Christmas list is going to want this book. So until next time, let's all live our lives in a way we'll make more friends than enemies, and people can see a difference in the way we live.